Electromagnetism. Introduction. Hans Christian Ørsted, 1777 to 1851, was one of the leading scientists of the 19th century. Played a crucial role in understanding electromagnetism. He gave lectures which were quite popular among the public and also learnt a lot during the tours. During one such lecture in April 1820, Ørsted carried out an experiment that was never performed before. He placed a compass needle underneath a wire and then turned on electric current. The needle of the magnetized compass showed deflection. Ørsted recognized the significance of what he had just done. Earlier, it was believed that electricity and magnetism were two different unconnected sciences. Ørsted had demonstrated that they were interconnected. Some scientists, influenced by the experiment, continued to work in the modern field of electromagnetism. Their research resulted in several new scientific theories and various vital inventions like the dynamo and the electric motor. With this, a new technology prospered, leading to inventions such as the radio, television, and fiber optics. Ørsted experiment. Take a thermocol sheet and fix two thin wooden sticks on height 1 cm, which have small slits at the top of their ends. Arrange the copper wire of 24 gauge so that it passes through these slips and make a circuit. The circuit consists of a 3-volt battery, key and copper wire which are connected in series as shown in figure. Now keep a magnetic compass below the wire. Bring a bar magnet close to the compass. Take the bar magnet far away from the circuit and switch on the circuit. Look for changes in position of the needle. In order to understand the reasons for the reflection of the compass needle with no bar magnet near it, we need to understand the idea of magnetic field and influence of electric field or magnetic field. Magnetic field. When a force gets applied on an object by other object without there being any physical contact between them, this field, which is responsible for deflection in compass needle, as magnetic field. Magnetic field around the bar magnet. Take a sheet of paper and place it on the horizontal table. Place a bar magnet in the middle of the sheet. Place a magnetic compass near the magnet. Use a pencil and put dots on the sheet on either side of the needle. Remove the compass. Draw a small line segment connecting the two dots. Draw an arrow on it from south pole of the needle to north pole of the needle. Repeat the same by placing the compass needle at various positions on the paper. The compass needle settles to different directions at different positions. This gives us an idea that the magnetic field has direction and it varies from one point to another. Now take the needle 2 places far away on the sheet and observe the orientation of the compass needle in each case. The compass needle shows almost the same direction along north and the places far from the magnet. It shows the strength of field varies with the distance from the bar magnet. Now hold compass little above the table and at the top of the bar magnet. You can observe that field exists in all directions around the bar magnet. Hence, we can say that the magnetic field is three-dimensional, that is, magnetic field surrounds its source such as bar magnet. From the above discussion, we can generalize that a magnetic field exists in the region surrounding a bar magnet and is characterized by the strength and direction. Tracing magnetic field lines. Place a white sheet of paper on a horizontal table. Place a compass in the middle of it. Put two dots on either side of the compass needle. Take it out. Draw a line connecting the dots which shows the north and south of the earth. Now, place bar magnet on the line drawn in such a way that its north pole points towards geographic north. Now, place the compass at the north pole of the bar magnet. Put a dot at the north pole of the compass needle. Now, remove the compass and place it at the dot. It will point in other direction. Again, put the dot on the north pole of the compass needle. Repeat the process till you reach the south of the bar magnet. Connect the dots from N of the bar magnet to S of the bar magnet. You will get a curved line. Technically, those lines are called magnetic field lines. Field lines are imaginary lines. Magnetic field due to currents. This observation helps us to conclude that current carrying wire produces magnetic field. Magnetic field due to a straight wire carrying current. Take a wooden plank and make a hole as shown in figure. Place this plank on the table. Now place a retort stand on the plank as shown in figure. Pass 24 gauge of copper wire through hole of the plank and rubber knob of the retort stand in such a way that the wire be arranged in a vertical position and not touch the stand. Connect the two ends of the wire to a battery via switch. Place 6 to 10 compasses in circular path around the hole so that its center coincides the hole. Use 3-volt battery in the circuit. Switch on. Current flows through the wire. So, we conclude the magnetic field lines are closed lines. The magnetic field lines due to straight wire carrying the current. This can be verified by sprinkling iron filings around the wire when current flows in that wire. Magnetic field due to solenoid. Take a wooden plank covered with a white paper. Make equidistant holes on its surface as shown in figure. Pass copper wire through holes as shown. This forms a coil. Join the ends of the coil to a battery through a switch. Switch on the circuit. Current passes through the coil. Now, sprinkle iron filling on the surface of the plank around the coil. Give a small jerk to it. An orderly pattern of iron filling is seen on the paper. This long coil is called solenoid. A solenoid is a long wire wound in a close packed helix. The field of solenoid is shown. The direction of the field due to solenoid is determined by using right hand rule. Thus, the magnetic field lines are closed loops. Magnetic force on moving charge and current carrying wire. Let a charge Q move with a velocity v perpendicular to the magnetic field B. The value of magnetic force on the moving charge found experimentally, and it is given by F is equal to QVB. When there is an angle between direction of field and velocity, the magnetic force experienced by the charge is given by F is equal to QVB sin theta. When charge moves parallel to the magnetic field, the value of theta becomes 0. In the above equations, theta is 0 degrees, so that sin theta is equal to 0. Direction of magnetic force acting on moving charge. We have an easy method to find out the direction of magnetic force acting on a charge moving in a magnetic field. Keep your right hand fingers along the direction of velocity of moving charge and next curve your fingers towards the direction of magnetic field, then thumb gives the direction of magnetic force. This rule is applied for any case of angle between directions of velocity and field. The direction of magnetic force is always perpendicular to the direction of both velocity and magnetic field. This law states that if the forefinger points towards the direction of velocity of charge of current, middle finger points to the direction of field B, then thumb gives direction of force when the three fingers are stretched in such a way that they are perpendicular to each other as shown in figure. This rule is applicable to positive charge. First, find the directions of force acting on a positive charge. Next, reverse its direction. This new direction is the direction of force acting on the negative charge. Drift velocity. The electric current means charges in motion, hence they move with a certain velocity called drift velocity v. The result of force applied on a current carrying wire by an experiment. Take a wooden plank. Fix two long wooden sticks on it. These wooden sticks have slits at the top of their ends. A copper wire is passed through these slits and the ends of the wire connected to the battery of 3 volts through a switch. Close the switch to make the circuit. Current passes through wire. Now, bring a horseshoe magnet nearest to the copper wire. Change polarities of the horseshoe magnet. Again, observe the deflection. Right hand rule helps you to find out the direction of magnetic force exerted by the magnetic field on current carrying wire. Electric motor. To understand the working of an electric motor, we need to understand the behavior of the current carrying coil kept in a magnetic field. Consider that a rectangular coil is kept in a uniform magnetic field as shown in figure. Switch on the circuits so that the current flows through the rectangular coil. The direction of the current in the coil is shown in the figure. At AB, the magnetic force acts inwards perpendicular to field of the magnet, and on CD, it acts outward. This figure is drawn from top view. The force on the sides BC and DA varies because they make different angles at different positions of the coil in the field. At BC, magnetic force pulls the coil up, and at DA magnetic force pulls down. The force on AB is equal and opposite to the force on CD due to external magnetic field because they carry equal currents in the opposite direction. sum of these forces is 0. Similarly, the sum of the forces on sides BC and DA is also 0 for the same reason. So, net force on the coil is 0. If the direction of the current in coil after the first half rotation is reversed, the coil will continue to rotate in the same direction. To achieve this, brushes B1 and B2 are used. These brushes are connected to the battery. The ends of the coil are connected to slip rings C1 and C2, which rotate along with the coil. Initially, C1 is in contact with B1 and C2 is in contact with B2. After half rotation, the brushes come into contact with the other slip rings in such a way that the direction of current through the coil is reversed. This happens every half rotation, thus the direction of rotation of the coil remains the same. This is the principle used in electric motor. In electric motors, electrical energy is converted into mechanical energy. Electromagnetic induction. Faraday's law. Take a wooden base as shown in figure. Fix a soft iron cylinder on the wooden base vertically. Wind copper wire around the soft iron as shown in figure. Now, take a metal ring which is slightly greater in radius than the radius of soft iron cylinder and insert it through the soft iron cylinder on the wooden base. Connect the ends of the coil to the AC source and switch on the current. The metal ring levitates when AC is used, therefore the net force on it should be 0 according to Newton's second law. In this activity, AC is used. AC changes both its magnitude and direction in regular time intervals. The current through the coil produces magnetic field so that one end of the coil behaves like north and other end behaves like south for a certain time interval. For the next interval, coil changes its polarities. Assume that the current flows is in a clockwise direction in the solenoid as viewed from the top. Then upper end becomes south pole. An upward force is applied on the ring only when the upper side of the ring becomes north pole. It is only possible when there exists an anticlockwise current in the ring. After certain intervals, solenoid changes its polarities so that the ring should also change its polarities in the same intervals. This is the reason why the metal ring is leviated. Connect the terminals of the coil to a sensitive ammeter or a galvanometer as shown in the figure. Normally, we would not expect any deflection of needle in the galvanometer because there seems to be no electromotive force in this circuit. Now, if we push a bar magnet towards the coil with its north pole facing the coil, a remarkable thing happens. While the magnet is moving towards the coil, the needle in galvanometer deflects, showing that a current has been set up in the coil. The galvanometer does not deflect if the magnet is at rest. If the magnet is moved away from the coil, the needle in the galvanometer again deflects, but in the opposite direction, which means that a current is set up in the coil in the opposite direction. If we use the end of the south pole of a magnet instead of north pole in the above activity, the experiment works just as described, but the deflections are exactly reversed. Whenever there is continuous change of magnetic flux linked with closer coil, the current is generated in the coil. This is Faraday's law. The current generated is called induced current and is set up by an induced electromotive force. This phenomenon of getting induced current is called electromagnetic induction. Lenz's law. Lenz's law states that the induced current will appear in such a direction that it opposes the changes in the flux in the coil. Let us arrange an apparatus as shown in the figure. It consists of a pair of parallel bare conductors which are spaced L meters apart in uniform field of B. We can hold another bare conductor mixed in such a way that it contacts with the two parallel wires. A galvanometer is connected to the ends of the parallel conductors to complete an electric circuit. Now, if the cross wire placed across parallel conductors is moved to the left, galvanometer needle will deflect in one direction. If this cross wire is moved to the right, its needle reflects in an opposite direction to the previous deflection. A current will be set up in the circuit only when there is an EMF in the circuit. Let this EMF be sigma. The principle of conservation of energy tells us that this electric energy must come from the work that we have done in moving the cross wire. If we ignore friction everywhere in the arrangement, the work done by this applied force is equal to Fs. Now, as we move the cross wire to the left, the area of the circuit decreases and the flux through the loop also decreases. The decrease in flux is given by del phi is equal to BLS. Equation 1. Here, B is perpendicular to the area Ls. W is equal to delta phi into I. Let us divide both sides of the equation by delta t. W by delta t is equal to I into delta phi by delta t. Equation 2. Electric power P is equal to I delta pi by delta t. We know that electric power is the product of current and EMF or voltage. Sigma is equal to delta pi by delta t is obviously equal to induced EMF. Electric power P is equal to epsilon I. Equation 3. Thus, the electric power generated in circuit is equal to product of induced EMF and the current. Thus, the mechanical energy used to move cross wire in 1 second is converted into electric power delta phi by delta t into I. This is nothing but conservation of energy. Dividing equation by delta t, we have W by delta t is equal to Fs by delta t is equal to Bi Ls by delta t. Here, S by delta t gives the speed of the cross wire. Let it be taken as V. Then we get electric power P is equal to W by delta T is equal to Fv is equal to BILV. Equation 5. Power is also gives as force times velocity. From equation 3 and 5, we get W by delta T is equal to sigma I. Sigma I is equal to BILV. We get sigma is equal to BLV. This is called motional EMF. The above equation is not Faraday's law of inductional because it is not related to the loop. It is useful when a single length of conductor moved across a magnetic field. Electric generator and alternating direct currents. Consider a rectangular coil. Let it be held between the poles of curve-shaped permanent magnet as shown in figure. As the coil rotates, the magnetic flux passing through the coil changes. According to the law of electromagnetic induction, an induced current is generated in the coil. Number 1. Consider initially the coil positioned in such a way that magnetic flux passes through it. When the coil is at the rest in vertical position with side A of coil at the top position and side B at the bottom position, no current will be induced in it. Thus, current in the coil is zero at this position. When the coil is rotated in clockwise direction, current will be induced in it and it flows from A to B. During the first quarter of rotation, the current increases from 0 to a maximum and reaches peak value when the coil is in horizontal position. Number 3. If we continue the rotation of coil, current decreases during the second quarter of the rotation and once again becomes 0 when coil becomes a vertical position with side B at top, side A at bottom position. During the second of the rotation, current generated follows the same pattern as that in the first half, except that the direction of current is reversed. DC current using a generator. If two half slip rings are connected to ends of the coil as shown in figure, the AC generator works as DC generator to produce DC current. When the coil in the vertical position, the induced current generated during the first half rotation, which rises from 0 to maximum and then falls to 0 again.
మా వీడియో గనుక మీకు నచ్చినట్లయితే లైక్ చేయండి, షేర్ చేయండి. ఇలాంటి మరిన్ని వీడియోస్ కోసం మా ఛానల్ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోవడం మాత్రం మర్చిపోకండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ వాచింగ్.